This past weekend, I explored an abandoned funeral home and wanted to share some footage of the adventure. I really wish I could have shown this to you guys a few years ago because it was in much better condition the last time I came here. But good things never last. And over the years, it's been vandalized, trashed, boarded up, and is now on the verge of collapsing. I do have some photos from my first trip, however, so I'll be showing those throughout the video. This was one of several funeral homes in the southeast run by an African American family, all of which are now abandoned. From the documentation I've been able to find, they were in business from some point in the 1950s to the early 1990s. Heading into the main building now, and right off to the left is the embalming room, labeled with a warning that formaldehyde is a cancer risk, while the door beside it has an emergency eye washing station mounted onto it. The room is still filled with various embalming fluids, and you might be surprised to see this, but every abandoned funeral home I've explored has had toxic chemicals that weren't properly disposed of, unfortunately. Beside it is a decaying children's coffin. Pretty spooky. Funerals were held in this room that contains a beautiful piano, but it probably won't be there much longer as the floor is about to give in. One of the rooms originally had two pristine coffins, both of which are now missing. Someone added a Ouija board graffiti onto the wall since the last time I visited, just in case you need to summon some lost spirits. The top floor is where the family who ran the funeral home lived, which I initially thought was strange, but apparently that was actually pretty common during the time period it was open. Here's a shot of a also now missing blueprint for one of the other funeral homes they owned. And here's a portrait of the owner of this series of funeral homes. On our first visit here, we found a dresser drawer filled with kittens on the top floor that we ended up taking to a nearby no-kill shelter. Here's a few other images of several areas of the location. Outside the main installation are two smaller buildings, including a garage that has almost completely collapsed. But it still contains a hearse with a casket sticking out of the back, my favorite aspect of the location. The felt on the top of the casket is almost completely rotted away now, and is gorgeous in a macabre way. Just outside the garage is yet another coffin partially crushed by a fallen tree limb. The other building disconnected from the main area is still filled with even more coffins, though there's fewer and fewer every time I've come here, which is weird because I'm not sure who would want a coffin, but I digress. There's also a headstone in here that was finished, but sadly never delivered, and will stay here until the building caves in or is demolished. This was my final trip to the location as it's on its last leg, and this video acts as a farewell to a place I had some good times at. Thank you for coming along with me on this adventure, and as always, have an awesome day, guys.